First time since 2012 last year that he was not in the top 5 in receptions in the NFL. So he's fallen out of the top 5. He was top 5 since 2012, right up there. And now he's fallen down to 8th last year.
Oh, my goodness. He's
Go ahead. I'm not saying...
And you want to know why he possibly made that fall?
I do.
Because of Le'Veon Bell wasn't there to take some of that pressure off. Defensively, if I'm a defensive coordinator and I don't see Le'Veon Bell present, I'm going to make others beat me, not Antonio Brown, so he's going to have to work harder. Ben, you're not going to be given this option like you have been in years past.
Who's Derek Carr going to turn to in the backfield? Does he have a Le'Veon Bell? Oh, he's got a rookie in Josh Jacobs. Defense is going to load up for a rookie, right?
But, Jason, also, I think one thing you got missing, also the last 3 years, he hasn't played all 16 games where he had in the previous 4.
Well, last year he quit on his team, as we said.
Well, but whatever you want to call it. But all I'm saying to you is, I think you're not being fair with his numbers. His numbers are not declining.
Still a top 10 receiver, no doubt. But for the first time last year since 2012, he was not top 5 in receptions, despite his quarterback leading the league in pass attempts. Something there seems to be off to me.
I'm not buying it whatsoever. You can give me all those numbers, but you can, again, I go back to the eyes. What does my eyes see when I see Antonio Brown on the football field from a production standpoint? You mentioned Coach Eric Mangini and Jeff Fisher talking about what they don't want, distractions. But did you ask them what they do want? Production. What does he provide? Production. Every single year, who are we talking about? One of the top receivers in all of National Football League, Antonio Brown. Why? Because he produces. He understands what it means to perform on game day. That's what coaches want most. They want players that are going to show up when the lights turn on. Antonio Brown has proven that he's going to show up when the lights turn on. And another thing, it's not just even about the numbers. We talk about what is he going to provide for the Oakland Raiders without a Juju Smith-Schuster, without the running backs in the backfield that he once had in Le'Veon Bell. Well, he's a decoy at, if nothing else, he's going to draw so much attention that guys like Tyrell Williams that have come over from the... You want to look like that, but we're going to start talking about guys like this. This is why we have Juju Smith-Schusters making so many plays, because he's playing alongside an all-pro in Antonio Brown.
That makes sense, Greg, but Antonio did not like that Juju was emerging. His teammates picked Juju Smith-Schuster as the team MVP. How did Antonio Brown respond? I'm quitting. This is unacceptable, and walked out on his team. You think they're going to make a $15 million a year receiver a decoy, and he's going to be cool with that?
Were you in that locker room when they said that Antonio Brown didn't like that?
He quit on the team. He got in an argument. I read the report of someone in the locker room. Sources told Sports Illustrated Antonio Brown was irate when Juju Smith-Schuster was voted team MVP. He walked out to practice. You can go read it, Greg. I mean, if you want to dispute the report, that's fine. And him and Roethlisberger got into it, and he walked off and quit on his team.
Wow.
I think you're way hard on Antonio Brown. And there was a problem at the end of last season. There's no doubt about it, where he thought he was going to play, and because he had missed those days of practice, they told him that he wasn't going to play. And he showed up for the game or whatever, and then they said he wasn't playing, and I guess he left. Is that a good thing? No, it's not. I agree with you. But to act as if this guy is nothing but disruptive, doesn't add anything, and that Ben is without malice. Ben has even come back to acknowledge that maybe he isn't the best quarterback and best teammate in dealing with his teammates, putting them on full blast, and there are other situations. So don't make it like it's just him. And I don't know anybody, Greg, you help me, that wants to be knocked off their perch and feel good about it. I don't care who it is, teammate or not. Nobody is going, oh, yeah, go ahead, take over my perch. I'm good with it. I'm just saying, I'm not saying that you have to be disruptive and try to hurt the team, but nobody takes that grade. He still knows he's a great player. 15 touchdowns, led the league, and you're telling me I led the league in touchdowns, and I'm not the best guy. I'm not a captain on my team? How?
Yeah, well, that's interesting.
How?
So he did lead the NFL in touchdowns.
That sounds crazy.
Then when the Steelers said, we're done with this guy, we're trading him, where were all the big-time offers? The Raiders offered a 3rd and a 5th-round pick, I believe. That's all it took for Antonio Brown. So it's not like the league was clamoring to bring this guy in. Let me add the next layer, and I don't want to, again, I don't want to be painted as the Antonio Brown hater.
What you mean?
He's
But you
talented.
are.
You're wearing the
I
outfit.
think the evidence
You're wearing
speaks
the
for
outfit.
itself. So look at this. Their schedule is the toughest in the NFL. Historically, one of the most brutal schedules for travel. They have 4 back-to-backs on the road. That is the league high. The Raiders are going to be in trouble. What happens, Rob, if they lose the opener to Denver? The quarterbacks that they face after that, this Raiders team's going to be in trouble. Patrick Mahomes, Kirk Cousins, Andrew Luck, Aaron Rodgers. There's a chance this team is 1-6 out of the gate, okay, with this brutal travel schedule. How is Antonio Brown going to go from being a perennial Super Bowl contender with the Steelers? How is he going to handle that locker room if they're 1-6 out of the gate?
Well, I think he already knows where the team is and what the circumstance is. I don't think he's going to go in and be shocked. They haven't won any Super Bowls in a long time, the Raiders.
They're not even contending.
And they've been bad. So I think you do know that, but you also feel when you go, Greg, that maybe I can be the guy to start this over or change the atmosphere. I bring what I had in Pittsburgh to the Raiders. It's the same way why John Gruden took the $100 million and came out of the TV booth, right, and went to the Raiders.
Yes.
Because he believes I can make a difference. I can change this. That's what AB is doing.
Yeah, anytime you go from one culture and one organization as well known and that has as much history as the Pittsburgh Steelers, and you go to another franchise and organization like the Oakland Raiders, it didn't matter where he went, you believe that you are going to make the difference. That's just everyone's mentality.
Everybody.
You think you're going to make the difference. Does that mean that the Oakland Raiders now are Super Bowl contenders? Absolutely not. Let's be realistic here. None of us up here are saying that, but we understand what provides wins, and that is players, playmakers, guys who can produce when the lights are brightest. And Antonio Brown, again, to my point, has always been that guy. You look at Derek Carr, you ask Derek Carr if he would take Antonio Brown, and does he believe that he's going to help him? Yes, exactly, of course. Of course.
Dial it back to playoffs, right? The playoffs are when the spotlight is on brightest. How has Antonio Brown done in 10 playoff games?
Hey,
he has 4 touchdowns. That's it. I mean, he's a really talented player.
Have you seen Ben Roethlisberger in the playoffs of recent when he plays New England? Have you taken? No, I'm
specifically to New England.
No, I'm asking you because every time they played him, they lay an egg.
See,
Okay.
what I
So is that on Tomlin? Is that on Ben? Is that on Brown?
It's a
Le'Veon?
It's a combination.
No Ryan Shazier. Where are we going with this?
No, where are you going with this? See, this is what I don't like. When guys like yourself start to make it all about one individual.
One guy.
So, no, let me finish. Because what's going to happen is if the Pittsburgh Steelers have success, it's going to be they're better without Antonio Brown. Well, let me clarify something. You recall this. You covered the Detroit Lions. When Calvin Johnson decided to retire, everyone was worried and concerned about the production of the offense, specifically the skill guys in the receiver unit. Did that production decline? No. It got better, actually. Does that mean that Calvin Johnson was irrelevant?
Who said that?
No, but that's
my point. So despite whatever the Pittsburgh Steelers do, don't let that be your narrative. Oh, they're better without Antonio Brown. Because what tends to happen when you lose a guy like Antonio Brown is a guy like Ben Roethlisberger who's always focused on him. Now he's going to deliver the ball differently. He's going to go to a lot more options because he's not so localized and focused on one individual that has always massively produced.
I'll give you another example. Le'Veon Bell. You know, everybody's beating their chest. Oh, we don't need Le'Veon Bell. Look, James Conner, whatever. These are the same Steeler fans talking about this, and the team didn't even make the playoffs. It's just like comical. They're telling them, we didn't need Le'Veon Bell. Look at what James Conner. Did you make the playoffs? No.
No.
And don't tell me that if Le'Veon Bell played the entire season, they wouldn't have made the playoffs. So people can paint it any way they want and act like missing a player like this doesn't matter. It does.
It does. No doubt about it. But I want to bring the focus back to the Raiders. This is a team, I said, that would not pay Khalil Mack. And whether your thoughts on Mack, you know, that's kind of irrelevant. But they wouldn't pay a edge rusher. We agree edge rusher is more important in building a team than wide receiver. We would agree on that, right, Greg?
I was just as blown away by them not paying Khalil Mack as anybody. Like,
Everybody.
But that was a John Gruden's decision. He's an offensive guy. He wanted to focus on the offensive side of the ball, get younger players in there, get players that he brought in there. That's the thing about coaches. They want to weed out what they feel has been kind of tainted by the old regime or old culture and old ways and old thinking. So you get those guys out. A Khalil Mack, I would have never gotten rid of him. He decided to get rid of him. They got 3 first-round draft picks. We'll see what they look like. But Antonio Brown, the one right here in question, whether he's going to help or hurt this team, is buffoonery. It's absolute buffoonery.
I'm sure the producers will love to hear you thought the question was dumb. Rob, I'll give you the final word here. He's definitely going to help a 4-win Raiders team do what? Get to 5 wins, 6? We know they ain't coming out of the cellar in the AFC West.
We don't know yet. I mean, they'll just be better. I just think offensively they'll be better, whether it's his numbers or other guys around him. And Derek Carr will have a better season. There's no doubt in my mind.
Well, he can't be any worse than he was last year.
I understand that, but that's why you go out and get help, right? Because you had problems the year before.
You know what's also interesting and very intriguing to me about Antonio Brown and all that we are seeing about him? John Gruden is so excited about him getting to practice so that these young guys, these other receivers, can watch the way he works. Because he's going, number one, when you have a guy like that in practice, in-house, that can translate what's in the meeting room onto the football field, it builds the confidence of everyone around you. Not only your quarterback, but the other guys that are going to be catching and receiving the ball from your quarterback. It provides that example of what it looks like. We heard it even on Hard Knocks when Nate Peterman, he doesn't see the guy streaking down, the Z receiver streaking down the middle of the field. He's like, you got to see that guy. You know who we got coming in here? 84 is going to be here, and he's going to want that ball. He's going to need that ball. He's a player. Like, that's what a guy like that provides. And we're not even talking about games. We're talking about practice.
Practice.
Somebody who actually loves to play football, regardless if it's the game, practice, off-season, working out, backyard. This is who Antonio Brown fully is.
Helmet issues, no doubt about it. Give me week 5 before Antonio Brown has his blow-up after they get destroyed and they fall to 1-4. All right, how concerned should the Colts be about Andrew Luck's latest injury? We'll discuss that, and don't forget, you can check us out every day on the Fox Sports channel on Sirius XM. We'll be right back.